So I apologize about the slides, and the content, and the jokes. Slides are not great, the content is not awesome, and I'm not very funny. And you already laughed, so hopefully, probably the last laugh in the talk. This is a talk I gave a few months ago. I had also slides and I had code. I only have 20 minutes, so I'm going to just take out all the boring stuff and just keep the slides. Basically, I want to describe the journey that we went through at YP. So I joined almost 3 years ago as a Ruby developer, and I moved up north, and I was kind of jealous. All this async talk, and I didn't know what async means. And I, screamed, Node, 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 nobody cared. And then one day the CTO told me, hey, we were thinking about it. And then I joined the web team, and we started to migrate our code from Ruby. It's a pretty big, bloated monolith that was in Ruby. The API, making API calls to another layer, also written in Ruby. But we were focusing only on the web layer. So we wanted to transition it to Node. And that's kind of our story, that's how we made it, and I want to describe the difficulties that we have. And we still have some of them. And maybe that's something that you guys might take to your company if you guys are thinking. And I talked to a bunch of people here who are doing PHP or even Ruby or Java, and they're thinking about it. So you guys will face similar challenges that we faced. So that's me. That's Yellow Pages. So have you guys read the book or saw the movie, The Hitchhiker Guide to the Galaxy? Who did not? Can you wait for me outside? What's wrong with you? Diversity. Other people are awesome too. So Node is dead. You already know this. TJ, not this TJ, but the other TJ. He left us. How could he? I was setting my tent. We had a freaking giant tent in the middle of the night. We came late to NodeConf, the recent NodeConf, and I'm getting a text message from Josh, our DevOps guy, awesome dude by the way. And he's like, Node is dead. And I'm like, we're hammering the tent into the ground, and I'm supposed to meet Substack the day after talking about Browser 5. So yeah, I was kind of sad, but Substack assured me that Node is alive and kicking, and I have nothing to worry about. The first thing we did, and that's me and the consultants are around me circling. That's how you would feel if you're gonna bring consultants that know what the hell they're doing to a team who are clueless, right? That's how I felt. You just if you have a dog, give your dog those little funny sandals and let him walk. I have a video of my dog. It's exactly the same. So don't leave your ego somewhere else and bring somebody who knows what the hell he's doing. And that's the lesson that I learned, and I asked my VP, why are you bringing those guys? And then I met the dude, and holy shit. We had the word ban, because he was banning on the keyword. He was so quicker than the way everybody has to think around him. It was so fast, and those guys helped us to kind of ramp onto the whole Node bandwagon. So that's my first advice to you guys. Leave the ego outside. Just bring. It doesn't have to be formal. It can be just a bunch of friends. Call them. Hey, I'm clueless. Please help me. So that's kind of the approach that we took. Is something similar to what Iran Hammer and Walmart did, which is the proxy migration strategy. So we put a little proxy. So first of all, we didn't drive all the traffic to the node endpoints, right? We only did incrementally. And in the node itself, we just use HTTP proxy, which is pretty battle-tested HTTP, and then all the routes. So we took extracted functionality from Ruby, right? We put it inside a little node service, and we put a route that will direct to this new service instead of the Rails over the Ruby. And we did it incrementally and slowly. Actually, even now we still have a few set profile. It's still on Ruby. We don't know what's going on in the Ruby code. It might be run by squirrels underneath. We're kind of scared, so we're gonna wait a little bit, feed the squirrels, and then and then attack it. But the nice thing about this, the router approach, is that we don't have to rush, right? Because the original plan of all the product managers was, let's do a big bang thing, and one day the world will wake up, and no, we're gonna fail. So I'm glad we picked it, and you can see that the number of servers, we don't have a lot of the need for hardware was decreased. thanks to Node. And you don't need to do anything, just the fact that you're using something which is better than, or easier to scale, I guess, than Ruby. The other challenge is JavaScript, right? If you're not used to callback hell, you're going to be in pain. And we're still in pain, even though we know how to deal with callbacks. So there's so many approaches. And then now there's like generators introduced into the next version of JavaScript, right? And you have promises, and then you have callbacks. And how do you choose? And you have like libraries like async that let you, it's a control flow library. You can use it, but it's still hard. It's not a solved problem. Right, so that's kind of a challenge, and the way is just educate people and show the developers what are the options and what are the consequences. There's developers who like abstractions, right? So they're gonna use promises, they're gonna use whatever they can to not see any callbacks in their code. So there's no one solution, obviously, but I guess the best thing is just educate yourself and make sure that if you write code, especially the first product you do, make them an exemplary project. Make them more comments, way more comments than the code itself. Right? So people can see it. In the comments say, oh, like the first time I did the async, we had to call our endpoints 3 times. So I deliberately did not use anything. I just used a simple counter, right? And I put a PR, the pull request, to show the developer, hey, this is a counter approach. And then somebody said, what? I don't want to do this stuff. This is terrible. And somebody introduced async library. So we had the entire team look at the PR and evaluate it and understood together, like, what are the alternatives. So, by the way, the presentation is called Big. It's for like lazy hackers, so it's all HTML. Looks like this. And every div turned into a slide, and it's like, try to fit this font into the maximum font. So I'm just lazy, but it's ugly, but whatever, right? You can read this stuff, it's big. And I had a really remote control that I did doing with WebSockets, can change my slides, but it didn't work. So I have to stand like this, it's gonna be boring. So server-side, we chose Express, but there's many frameworks. And also there's the no frameworks approach. And I recommend to look at stuff that's Rhinos. If you know R-A-Y-N-O-S, Rhinos. So he's building like HTTP frameworks, basically no framework, just use HTTP, which is come with Node. And then find with small little function, do the functionality that other frameworks are doing for you. Because who knows, maybe the maintainer of the frameworks might just leave to a different platform. Never gonna happen, right? No. Happy was not very mature back when we started, now it's actually better. Sales is if you like Rails, I don't. Meteor is if you like a lot of things that you don't understand and you like magic. Uh-oh, General Assembly guys. Are you guys teaching them Meteor? Because he's coming for a job interview, so we'll talk. So yeah, Meteor, I had to read the book on the flight, the Meteor book, and this was a boring flight, but the book was even more boring than any movie on the flight. Yeah, don't read Meteor books on the flight or anywhere. Restify is pretty good. I've never used it, but I've heard good things about it. I think it's mainly for API, less template stuff, but we just told the Express. Who knows not the name of the cat? Maru. That's good. Wow. So Maru is an internet sensation. He's a Japanese cat, and he likes to get inside boxes, and that's it. That's all it does. It's awesome protein, by the way. You have client side. Client side is a mess. It's a total mess. The server side is a pain. Wait until you hit the client side, right? So, do you use Common.js with Browserify? My recommendation is yes. Yeah. Good. Woo! Browserify. Yeah. and $JS, that's your stack. Should check out Rhinos. Rhinos has same guy that's building the Node frameworks libraries for the client. Now we're building a replacement for React. Facebook has a new, somewhat new framework. React is in virtual DOM, super performant. So Rhinos is building Mercury with the small libraries. You require the virtual DOM, and you require events. You really require everything. And it's less code, a little more complex than plumbing, but check it out. It's instead of like the OO soup that you get from ampersand, you get more functional reactive programming, which is make you fancy, like Haskell dude.
They're awesome.
All right. So we just use Browserify with no frameworks, and maybe you have some backbone a little bit, and we're thinking of React for smaller things and smaller projects now. Then you have different ways to communicate between the server and the client. If you're in the 80s, you're going to choose the first one. If you're in the 90s, I'm probably going to be Ajax. If you're in 2012, I don't know, when the people realize. And maybe now you're going to use WebRTC or all of the above. We're actually using all of them. So our stack is, there's nothing very complex in what we're doing. We're just getting stuff from the API and bringing it back to the client with some templating. We're using Jade Express. But you would think that it's simple, but there's some stuff that we need to massage the data that is coming, so there's different ways to do it. We can create like more object-oriented style, or maybe we can more of the helpers and small little functions that just operate on simple hashes, you know? And that's something that you will have to face and choose approach, or maybe use both, but at least make an educated decision why choose each of them. That's a tweet that I saw. Where's the Tinder guys? Tinder. Good job, guys. So yeah, so it's kind of true, and that's a big challenge, especially for client-side guys, right? If you're on the client side and somebody introduced NPM, you're like, what? Wait, I have Bower, I have all my tools I used to. I have Galt and broccoli and carrots. So NPM, that's a big challenge to get used to NPM and embrace NPM. And NPM is not just for server side, right? NPM is also for client side, and don't use Bower. Do you agree? No Bower? No Bower. And then in our case, it's the DHH versus the Substackian. So I'm a Substackian. I like small little things, doing one thing. I read Substack code. I don't know what's going on there. It's crazy, but it works, right? And it's small little modules. And then people coming from the Ruby environment, they like Mocha, and they like, you know, Substack. You have tape for testing, for example. Tape is very minimalist, and what he's saying about the other approaches, like he has all kinds of globals, and where is this scribe came from? It's a global that just lands on your face, and he doesn't like it, so he's like, you need to require tape, and then you have it in a variable. So nothing is magical. So we had a lot of arguments, and I think that the Mocha guys won, unfortunately. But it's okay, you know, it's fun. It's fun to argue and lose, in my case. Who knows what is this gun? It's from the book or the movie. All right, Cricket's cookie. Can you? Don't eat it. Don't eat it. I'm watching you. Worry about it. It's delicate. So that's the point of UGAN. And by the way, there's crickets inside. So what is the point of UGAN? I'm gonna give you a gun. I don't know how much time I have. I don't care. They're gonna kick me out of the stage. So let's imagine that I have a gun and I'm gonna give you the gun. Just shoot fire. This old guy is so boring. He's not even funny. And I came here from Glendale, and now I'm like so bored. I want to eat food. Can somebody shut him up? So basically, she understands what I'm thinking, right? And it was developed by bored housewives with some crazy robot in the book. They're trying to understand. So if you have a conflict, and you're going to have conflict, use this gun and fire at each other, right? And it really solved a lot of conflicts we had, like Mocha versus tape versus whatever, Substacks. It helps. You understand why somebody chooses a framework, or why is he thinking the way he thinks and want to implement crazy bloated monolith, and you don't. So who knows what this guy is? Babelfish. Rock on. So don't forget, there's crickets inside. It's better than a cow. Trust me. Production. Anyway, we'll talk about it later in the Q&A. So that's the babelfish. Basically, it's a little fish that you put inside your ear, and then you can communicate with aliens. So, who are the aliens in our world? I met a few of them. Dominic Tarr. I swear to God. I gave a talk in Beijing with this guy, and I asked, he was buying, him and stuff, like buying freaking bikes. Like 50 RMB, and they went somewhere with the bikes after the conference was over, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Where are you going? I'm like, fixing my spaceship. So those guys are aliens. It's hard to understand them. So you gotta find your babelfish, that's how you pronounce it? Yeah, you gotta find your babelfish. So I'm trying to be one, I'm trying to be the guy who tried to spend my weekend into like a OCD mode, rabbit hole into stuff libraries, right? And then kind of show the engineers, oh, this is a cool library, and that's how you can use it, or Mercury, Rhinos, whatever, whoever the alien is for you. Just find the aliens and find a way to translate, or maybe find people who can translate for you. Find your Babel fishes. That's it. Anybody want a t-shirt?
Okay. Is it made of crickets?
Thank you.